Chapter 1. Handling. Handling of HPL, high-pressure laminate, is done by two workers at the same time, each responsible for one side, holding the laminate in the middle. Move lightly when handling. Store on flat ground or on a shelf. Do not drag the laminates, which will cause breakage or other damage. When handling small quantities of laminate, the laminate should be rolled with surface inward to avoid scratching. Besides this, to prevent damage caused by bundling rope, the use of an isolation barrier inside the sheet before rolling and a protective device at the edge is recommended. Chapter 2. Storage. Laminates should be kept horizontal, back to back, face to face, surface down, with isolation layer on top to prevent damage or warping. During storage, be sure to avoid strong light or direct contact with the ground or walls. Storage temperature should not be below 18 degrees Celsius and relative humidity kept at 30 to 80%. Chapter 3. Cutting. When cutting laminate by machine, with the color and pattern side up, push the laminate in the direction of the saw teeth. 6 mm of trimming allowance is reserved in advance. Press down on the board firmly when cutting to prevent it from jumping up and down, which will cause uneven edges. Use the same process for substrate material. Keep the substrate edge smooth after cutting. Chapter 4. Gluing. Gluing should be done in a clean, dust-free environment. Make sure the gluing side of the substrate or laminate is clean. Step 1. Pour the glue onto the gluing side, using a scraper to make it even. Step 2. Use the scraper to ensure glue on substrate's gluing side is even. Don't use a wool brush for large area gluing, which will cause an uneven layer of glue and cause the laminate to blister after pasting. Optimal time for assembly. Wait 5 to 10 minutes after gluing when surface is not sticky. Stickiness can be tested with back of hand. Pay attention to maintain trimming allowance when pasting. Beginning on one side, check the alignment with the other side, then press and push down. Once they are pasted, you need to press again using a piece of flat wood covered with soft cloth. Press along a fixed direction back and forth. Add some glue between the surfaces. Then use a wool brush to make it even. Then stick again. In case of blistering, use an electric iron to flatten blistered area. Chapter 5. Trimming. Use a trimming machine and tools to trim the allowance reserved earlier. Because of the tooling limit, about 0.5 mm allowance still exists. Use a hand plane or sandpaper to trim and smoothen it. Finally, check that the edge is flat and smooth. Chapter 6. Assembly. Use pneumatic nails for positioning of parts. Key structural parts will require reinforcement by screws. Once finished, check the surface for any depressed parts, filling in with poly putty and using sandpaper to smoothen the surface after putty is solid. If the parts are not well aligned, do any necessary dressing. General technique. Leaving allowance for the piecing, do visual alignment and paste. After pasting, press using a piece of flat wood covered with soft cloth along a fixed direction. After the glue is dry, use trimming machine to trim off the allowance. Seamless technique. First, sand a cross-section of the laminate at an appropriate angle, 45 degrees or less. Put a piece of laminate strip of the same thickness in advance for positioning. Attach the first side and remove the strip. Then attach the other side. Stick and press the angled side onto the other side and make it flat. Dress the angled side by using a hand planer or sandpaper. Edging of laminate board. Cut the laminate into strips, leaving trimming allowance. Use scraper or brush to glue evenly. Heat the laminate for bending and sticking. Use suitable tooling to press. Horizontal piecing. As shown in the video, use angle square to mark. Cutting with the knife, stick and press from the piecing part to the other side. Press evenly to make it flat and smooth. Use trimming machine to trim off the allowance and smoothen using a hand planer. Cleaning. Use pneumatic air to clean the surface. For parts that can't be cleaned this way, wipe with a soft cloth. Overflowed glue can be cleaned using a soft cloth dipped with some solvent. The cabinet is finished. You can install the casters for more flexible usage. After piecing is complete, use the rasp for trimming. Pay careful attention to the direction of movement, which should only be from top to bottom, not back and forth. Use appropriate tools for trimming after. Pasting and cold pressing of balance sheet. We can use cold pressing in order to ensure the countertop is flat. Put the glued laminate into the press and remove it after the appropriate duration. Machine edge banding. Choose the suitable width of edge bands. Adjust the temperature of the machine. Then push the sheet into the edge banding machine. After these simple steps, the furniture is completed.